so a bit of a mixed bag. Starting with this. So actually, yeah, first thing is there is a charity shop in Swindon called Survivor. It's called Survivor, and yeah, it's a very good charity, very good cause. It's for survivors of domestic violence, domestic abuse. And yeah, that's probably my favourite charity shop in Swindon because they have really good prices, a really good range of items, and their staff are excellent. Like, they're really friendly. They engage with you. They talk about what they're selling. They sort of encourage you with different options that they're selling. They're just really helpful, and also they display everything really well. So I would say that's my favourite charity shop in Swindon, and this is where the first few items came from. So now this is very nostalgic. This is one of those spot the intro games. The greatest ever CD music game. So yeah, if you don't know how these work, basically, there's a CD inside. You pop that CD into your CD player, and you have to be the first to write down what the intro actually is. I own a version of this exact game. This is just like a smaller version. The one I've got is a bigger box. And just maybe this has got slightly less in it, I don't know, but it's the same game, it's the same company and everything else. It's sealed, and it was only 50p because basically they had this section where they were doing two things for £1. If I didn't already have this, I would have kept this and played it. A good bit of fun, but very nicely nostalgic because obviously using CDs, and also because there's well, this was, I think, 2005, yeah, so you've got all music up to 2005 could be included there. Yeah, so but I've got this for reselling purposes now. It'd probably go for around £4 or £5, possibly a bit more. It is completely sealed, but I thought that was a good little buy there. I was saying to the lady who was showing me all these £2 for £1 things, and as she was rightly saying, we'd rather clear them and give them, you know, a reasonable price, and clear them out of the shop and sell them to somebody than have to throw them away, which is good, because I have heard that some charity shops throw things away, and I understand they have issues with space, and that's such a shame because somebody will always buy it, and it is a bit of a waste unless they're recycling those items. I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad that she was doing what she could to at least try and sell them. And yeah, I mean, I'm surprised this hasn't sold, but maybe it was being priced too high before, I don't know, but it's a good little thing. So yeah, 50p. Probably make a few pounds on that, as it is sealed. Obviously, postage would be a bit as well, take into account. But yeah, I think still make a bit on that. And then I needed to find something to go with that, as it was £2 for £1. And unfortunately, there were a lot of different board games and toys and little items, but I already had them. What was on offer. So I came back with this. This is a talking skip rope. No, jump rope. Skipping rope. There's various ways to say it. They've put jump rope on. It's also known as a skipping rope. Yeah, it's a talking digital one. It seems to be brand new. I need to test it, check it's working. I will open it just to make sure, because I can't say for sure whether it hasn't been used, but the pack was kind of sellotaped up. The LCD display still had, I don't know what to call it, but you know, that protective sticky bit that you take off, still had that on it. It looks like it's never been used, but I will just make sure it's working, because it doesn't include the batteries. I'll need to find some batteries and test it out. But yeah, so it talks adjustable rope length, 4 display modes, choice of automatic or manual voice announcements, and all that kind of thing. So yeah, this was only 50p, so I just thought I'd probably try and sell it, but if it doesn't go anywhere, I'll keep it myself. It could be an interesting little thing, and I haven't skipped for a while, but I wouldn't mind taking up skipping again. It's very good for you, very healthy thing to do, and this is the novelty of being a talking one. They originally selling it for £10. I've taken the sticker off now, not the charity shop, but wherever it's originally from, which I'm not sure where. Oh, Debenhams. Although it might have extra value, the sadly departed Debenhams. So I got that, and then in the same charity shop, I was looking at the DVDs. They had various prices on them. So here we have the classic Back to the Future trilogy, possibly one of the greatest trilogies in cinema history, you could argue. Absolutely brilliant. If I didn't already have this myself, I would be keeping it. It was £3. Don't know what shop they were selling it in originally, £8.99. I have not taken these stickers off because I can tell if I try and take this off, because I think that's like a security tab thing that's still on it, it will rip the whole of the packaging and then it won't be sealed, so probably won't get so much money for it, so I'm just going to keep that on there. So yeah, this is one with various extras. It's got an ultraviolet version, it includes a copy to download and all that kind of thing. Yeah, so that was £3. I think I'll just keep that in my shop and try and make a few pounds on it because it's a nice little collection. Now we're on to the books, and the books make up the rest of the video. So just two from my own personal collection, so we'll start with those. And by the way, all of these were from the My Local Cancer Research 2 for £1 adult book deal. So this first one is Allison and Busby proudly present Inspector Colbeck's Casebook, by Edward Marston. So if you're not familiar with Edward Marston's books, I think he's done several types of books. However, I'm familiar with the Railway Detective series. If you haven't come across the Railway Detective series and you like a good detective mystery set in a time gone by, I highly recommend Edward Marston's books. So basically, various mysteries, I think they're usually, if not always, murder mysteries, set on a train, and he is a railway detective. And obviously, because of when this was set, it's an old-fashioned like steam train, and that's basically a subgenre of books I really like, is detective books when it's set on a steam train, some kind of old-fashioned lavish train. That all started because of reading Agatha Christie. The obvious one would be the Murder on the Orient Express. However, trains, because it was the main type of travel back then, feature a lot in Agatha Christie's books, and that really got me into the genre of detective mysteries set on a train. So yeah, this is a short story collection. I've not yet read a short story collection of Inspector Colbeck's mysteries, so I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, very nice condition as well. So very good 50p, and what's the date on it? It is 2014, so it didn't come out too long ago. And yeah, there is a pattern, because I also got this one. So this is what I was just saying, that Edward Marston has done several types of books, not just the railway detective mysteries. This one, Steps to the Gallows. I'm not familiar with this series, but I like the author, so I thought I would give it a go. It sounds an interesting premise. So that's for my personal collection. Right, so the rest is for my eBay shop, the stuff for him. I'm going to start putting a link in my description as well, in case anyone wants to check out that. I think I do sometimes, but I'm going to try and do it all the time, just in case you want to buy any of the things that I'm showcasing. Obviously you might get yourself a great buy that you wanted, and also it helps support me, so that would be great, just if you do happen to see anything you want. So the first two books that I got were, for reselling purposes anyway, these two. We got Blue Moon and Secret Hour. Now these have a Twilighty look to them, don't they? And basically, after Twilight, the fantasy romance genre exploded after the success of the Twilight books. And of course, you could probably argue after 50 Shades came out, which of course is a version of Twilight, a fan fiction version of Twilight. These kind of things got even bigger. They're not for me, that is why they're not going into my own collection. It would be for reselling. I do like the fantasy genre or not, but these lean more towards the romance, and that is not for me. But it is a very popular genre, so I would highly recommend, if you're reselling books, to consider the romantic fantasy genre. They normally sell well. These are by Scott Westerfield. They're in okay condition, but I'm going to sell the two of them together and do a small little bundle for somebody. Now, I also got these. Now, I'm not too familiar with this author, Jordan Dane. No One Left to Tell and No One Heard Her Scream. Wonder if all the books start with no one. Also, they have an interesting cover that looks like it's like been cut away, which is quite cool. Yeah. I was reading, I like the shiny fronts, and also I was reading the backs, and the story does sound interesting, an interesting thriller. But I don't know, I think they might lean towards the romantic a bit more, and again, that's not for me, but if it is for you, that's great. I don't know, sometime I might read one and see, but yeah, I'm going to look a bit more into them, but I think that again, I'll sell them as a double, as a small bundle, and see how they go. It's all about doubles today, really, actually, mostly because I also got these two. Now, these do look like something I would read. These are just more straight up fantasy. Yeah, I've seen these about, actually, and I probably will read them at some point. Who's the author? It's Mindy L. Klasky. I think these are quite retro. Yes, I got two of these for £1. There's a date here. Oh no, 2003. Yeah, got like a retro style to them, which is really nice actually. Well, I know 2000 is retro, but I mean more retro. So yeah, I think we'll sell those as a little double, and that will go well. Yeah, the kissing booth. So there's a real theme with the old romance today. Again, not of interest to me. I don't mind if romance happens to feature in the book. It often does, but not if it's the main focus. This is probably going to sound bad, but I'm more interested in finding out if somebody doesn't get their head eaten by some kind of zombie dinosaur, then finding out whether a couple find true love. It just doesn't bother me whether they do or they don't. I know that sounds terrible, but you know, we all have our favourite genres. Yeah, so this is clearly teenage romance. So the Kissing Booth and the Kissing Booth 2 go in a distance. Also, it's been adapted into a Netflix series, a film actually. I wouldn't say necessarily go out your way of trying to pick up books to resell that have been on Netflix, have been adapted in some way, but there is a good chance that's helped increase their popularity even further. People may be discovering it on Netflix, even if it's not just come out. So, you know, it could be a good idea to get some of these books where they've been adapted by Netflix. And of course, that's one thing I will say that's good about Netflix. They are adapting a lot of sort of books and like books from quite a way back, and sometimes more recently, that you might have thought to yourself, oh, that would make a good film or TV series. And up until Netflix started getting involved with things that weren't really happening. Obviously, some books were getting adapted, many were, but there's just certain ones where I often thought, I wish I would adapt this into something. The best example I can think of is R.L. Stein's Fear Street. Netflix adapted it, and in my opinion, it's a good adaptation. So, yeah, there we go. I think they will sell, and again, we will sell those as a double. I don't think any of these I picked up today will make a huge profit, but it just helps keep the shop ticking, and that's what it's all about, helping keeping it ticking over. Yes, and lastly, this big book just about fits in the camera. You Can Do It, B&Q's classic slogan. This is a really big hardback, really big. Again, what I like about cancer research, doesn't matter the size of the book, it's still 50p, 2 for £1 deal. I couldn't actually find a date on this, but I think it's a little bit, you know, from quite a few years ago. However, DIY is DIY, you know, basically the principles will remain the same. Yeah, so I just thought that could be really handy for someone who is looking for a really good sort of DIY Bible, really, because of course you can find all the DIY things out online. I often will look up something if I need to know it. However, I don't know, if people are like me, it's just nice to have it in a book, and sometimes it's just easier. it's just one of the things I think it's good to have as a book, a reference book. So yeah, I think that will sell. I think I think there weren't any others on eBay, but I reckon certainly make a few pounds. And obviously it's going to cost a bit to post because it's a big old thing, but I think it'd be worth it. And then lastly, actually, yeah, I said that was all of them for me, but no, there was one more for my collection. This. However, I didn't realise something about it. So I love sushi. Hoping to make some more sushi for lunch soon. One thing I didn't notice because I only looked at the front cover and had a very quick flip through. It is not in English. I'm not sure which language it's in, but there is no English. However, I will still definitely keep it because it's got really nice pictures which can provide inspiration. And obviously, I can easily just translate. I'm sure Google Translate would do a good enough job for me to work out what's been said. But if not, it's just a nice little keepsake for the photos because it's a really lovely presented book, to be fair. Look at that. So, yeah, that's that. Yeah, you can see it's in a different language there. And yeah, that is the collection. So a few nice little things there. I'll pop the link to the channel down below. And I'll see you next time for the next haul. I'm hoping to go to some indoor car boot sales soon, as well as charity shops, so we might have some items from there.